Starting lineup: Kled, Warwick, Set, Lucian, Heimerdinger up against Scaly, Olaf, Nefiri, Jin, Pike. Rating of the picks for a casual game: Kled as a top, 8. Warwick in the jungle, 8. Set as a mid, 8. Lucian as a shooter, 8. Heimerdinger in support, 7. Kaylee as a top, 4. Nefiri as a mid, 10. Jin as a shooter, 9. Pike in support, 6. Here in this game, this Warwick player getting us lost as an African boy in a Lithuanian cat house. We're gonna have this shootout with some unexpected outcomes. We have this K-League player expressing themselves with an interesting skin. And just struggling to keep up with all the fashionistas. But I'm doing my best anyway, because that's me. A little wiggle from Mom's B. 90 womanly champs to choose from. Gonna go with Set because biology. And woe is me. First game back as a jungler, and Warwick is asking for assistance. Because the most important thing that you can accomplish in League of Legends is stealing another guy's jungle mobs. About 2 months ago, we came to the conclusion that people have this fixation, so we put a ward down every time, and the trap is therefore set. In this case, you're out of luck, because we had a capable mid, so you're going to get it up your rear end. And then as I've said now, since the beginning of this channel, one of the major problems with this kind of foolishness is that of course you're in enemy territory, so you have nowhere to run to. Another problem with this is that you're doing it in the first 50 seconds of the game, which is a period of time where nobody knows anything about each other, and so you have no time to coordinate anything because you don't know each other. More about the glamour of robbing the jungle later. First time back as a jungler, still getting first blood. You're seeing here that reckless swing from Olaf, the axe throw. It feels more difficult to master, highly effective when used in close range exchanges, especially in duels where you're trying to maximize your damage while dodging skill shots. The axe throw can add an extra layer of burst damage, and it can make the difference in a fight, but it takes practice to use it effectively in high pressure situations. Really more of a poke tool here, and to just mess with the enemy mind. You end up as this Warwick player, utterly embarrassing yourself. You're gonna feel this social frustration of having had to lean on other people and getting them killed throughout the rest of this game, because it can wreck the cohesion in a team. You got 2 dead on this, but no worries, because you're gonna end up telling yourself a bunch of lies about how you got it anyway. And the way that you get it anyway is apparently that if you as Warwick get it up the rear end, it's all fine and good just as long as you can steal the mobsies. Really takes me back, this play, to some of the earliest Wukong stuff where I used to go around preaching about the karmic justice of the jungle and how this obsession with screwing people over only ends up screwing you yourself over. And I will probably not have the privilege to discuss a showcase like this for the next couple of years, as this thing was really a textbook example of the overcompensation of the stealing the mobsies. My mobsies know your mobsies halvesies. Of course, what this 20-second play shows is this consequential brawl going on in the bot lane next to the turret. As this Warwick strolls on by, Lucian will end up losing this shootout. There will be a significant emotional fallout from this, causing Lucian to leave the bottom lane. And this is all going on while this intellectual of a Warwick player calling himself a barbarian, I'm thinking more of another B word. I'm thinking of a very different B word. And you are so hell-bent and obsessed about getting these jungle mobs from me. You want to steal them so badly that you would rather have all these people in the bottom lane die, then stop stealing my mobs. Taking out these 2 extra jungle creepers means more to you than how your team does in the bottom lane. Not because you need them, but simply because they are mine. Now, people talk about getting a big dog to compensate for being a little man. But this is really taking it to a next level. In order to want to prove yourself to me so badly, that's like your entire obsession for these first 3 minutes throughout these 2 plays. So desperate to try to prove to me as a returning jungler that you can steal these mobs from me, that it becomes very clear that there is something entirely else going on in your little head. Meaning, these mobs are symbolic to you. Now, of course, we live in reality, in the reality of the game of League of Legends. These 2 pathetic mobs are not gonna do anything for you. And so, because of the fact that you're allowing your team to fall apart, you're going to get abused by me and manhandled by me throughout the rest of this game. As in every Warwick encounter, I'm going to beat the S out of him. But hey, at least you got the mobsies, right? At least you got the mobsies. What a victory when you think about it, right? That's like the only thing low elo junglers on Warwick care about. Is like, if they can make you feel that your stuff is theirs, that is the only thing that they're concerned with. And if that means that they have to run and hide from you for the rest of the game, if that means that they're completely getting beat to shreds, well then apparently so be it. I mean, the only thing I can say to that is, if you're okay with the situation as an enemy jungler, then I am too. If you're okay with me chasing you around everywhere and beating you in every matchup in exchange for a few mobs early on, that deal works in my favor. So, of course, what to actually do, how you actually play League, is instead of doing this clown stuff with stealing, you help your teammate out. And you could potentially even get the kill. More broadly speaking, people outcompete each other by farm speed. That means total wealth and total level. And you will see that I have much more wealth at the end of this game than this Warwick player. If you really want to financially dominate someone, you outrace them. You don't get the mobsies. That's a territorial, childish thing that is utterly meaningless. We're gonna have this Warwick player reaching up top and around the turret, and we get the clumsy home teleport. And this is something I've talked about as well a couple of times, especially in Trundle 4 and Trundle 5, about how you have to be careful. Usually it's better to walk back for a bit and then teleport, especially around a turret, rather than to go in the bushes somewhere, and that is precisely what this Warwick player is going to suffer from here. The Scaly player using the abilities very appropriately. You get that Starfire Spellblade here early in game. That is a basic spell that enhances the next attack. It adds bonus magic damage and it can be used to secure last hits or poke. This also grows in range eventually, and just a good Kaylee sustained damage output tool. Admittedly, very little help from this Kled player here, and this is all fallout again from the beginning of the game, where other players saw you ask for assistance to invade, causing their death because nobody trusts you anymore, since you left them for dead. We see that the Solution player ended up swapping lanes. You're going to experience as an ADC that you need some level of protection because you are not a brawler like Set, so you die. We find this poor Warwick here, struggling on this Drake, asking for assistance, but they've had his sauce before and they don't feel much for dying again. So I end up finishing him off with the third spell, and we cooperate to get the Drake down. We have this Warwick at the Rift Herald. I'm going to put this cautionary ward down, and moments later, this Kled player is going to put a control ward down. Kaylee ends up eating up what falls off of the table, and I use the third spell to get the finish on Warwick. We have chaos leading to devastation in the bot lane, as nobody knows where nobody is anymore. This Lucian is going to spend the rest of the game jungling to try to power up his character, but come to the conclusion that he can't because he has no proper protection to withstand the jungle mobs, so they beat the S out of him. This probably would not have happened if he had had some help at the beginning of the game. Playing ADC shooter can indeed feel like you're just a ragdoll getting thrown around. Looking at these champs, getting an understanding of how well the picks could fit with each other. Looking at Team Blue, we would have to say, an A. This is a very dangerous combination on this difficulty level because you have a capable, potent attack damage shooter in Lucian. You have a capable pure damager an AP damage dealer in Heimerdinger, and you have an impenetrable wall of Kled, Warwick, and Set. This is not conventional, but that doesn't matter in low elo and the casuals. These people are older people and they have a good idea of the kind of brawn that makes up a winning team on the lowest level. Taking a look at Team Red here, trying to figure out how their picks fit, we would have to say a mid to low B. You have a strong core of Olaf and Nefiri that are not going to go down easily and that can go and get their own food. You have the very difficult to play Pike, and we then have a lot of misery in this Scaly, which really robs us of a solid front line. Because Scaly is a fragile caster type, much like Heimerdinger. So Team Blue definitely has the picks working in their favor. Taking a look then at these players, getting an understanding of how they behave, how they treat each other, how they contributed, and what to make of them. When we look at this Kled, we would have to say a low B, a conservative player who could hold the line. You were not disruptive, you were not problematic, but you also didn't really go out of your way to help people. You ended up going Black Cleaver, that is a good pick. You tried to go Ruined King and then ended up backpedaling from that. You also went Titanic Hydra. The most typical story, you're not getting enough armor on you this way. A pretty boring story in this Kled of just holding the line and not getting involved in too many things. A B. We have this Barbarian Warwick player going 2 and 11. We'll look at the items in the scoreboard later on. I would give this player a high C. Definitely zero understanding for other players and for teammates, but you did have kind of a motor on you. Looking at the Set player, Moms B. Copy pasting this Warwick player's items. Going 1 and 11, you don't say. Just keep doing the same thing, guys. Just everybody just keep doing the same thing. Type it in the Google, and whatever comes up first, that's what you take, that's what you pick. Keep working that way for everything in life. It will be fine. You did pick up on whatever outcry for help that there was. You did not have a disruptive personality. You tried to prevent the bottom lane from collapsing. You were not a selfish player despite having 0 assists. And it is not a skill score, it's a behavior score. A B. We have this Lucian player with a copy-paste build from Worlds, building him like Jackie Love. Probably a bit too ambitious. This was also a new account, I believe. I would have to give this player a C. We will try to have more respect for ADCs throughout the rest of this video series. However, you went too far in expressing your dissatisfaction, and you sabotaged this team by going around in the jungle, completely abandoning everybody. A C. We have this Sanji because he was the 3rd son after the 2 other manufactured sons, and San means tree. You're going 3 and 5 on Heimerdinger. You went Thornmail. You also went Leandry. Those are 2 winning items. You ran around in the bottom lane. It took a long time for you to give up. I would say a B. Taking a look then at the Scaly player, you're going all out offensive plus attack speed with Nashors. You ended up going 6 and 3. I'm assuming that probably will not work out that way consistently, and you probably are pretty reliant on kill stealing. You were capable of pressuring the enemy, you helped other people out 2 or 3 times, a high B. We have this Nefiri player going 11, 3, and 6, going Cyrilda and Yomu, not buying too much here, kind of making it hard on yourself, but Nefiri will allow you to do that. It's kind of crazy when you see what items and what builds Nefiri can get away with. It's almost cheating. This player was all over the map, and an overall winning mentality, we would have to say an A. We have this French boy, Jin player, going 1 and 4. Survivability is a bigger problem with you than offense, but as far as offense is concerned, you're going static shiv here plus rapid fire cannon. Jin could really use a little bit more raw damage. So I would say keep Shiv because it's one of the best items in the game, but change Rapid Fire Cannon to say the Collector, and you will do much better on Jin. I can't give this player a C because he did try and he was present in the lane, so a low B. Then we have the Spike player, an obvious Smurf and a new account, with an extreme amount of experience in this game, very obviously. Purely benevolent, finding the time to use a bunch of support items on top of having an extreme KDA, on top of doing extreme damage. Perfecting the play. Going 10, 1, and 17. That is 10, 1, and 17. An obvious A, and one of the best players that we've recently played with. It really kind of shocks me how many people want to devote their playing career to Pike. It is a pretty harsh role to play, but apparently that misty, evasive assassin vibe just motivates enough young, bright men to keep his fan base growing and growing. The last 2 months, 50% of the best players that we've seen were all Pike players. As I've said recently, the strangest thing about Pike as a champ is that for some reason you don't see him fail a lot. Doesn't seem to be attempted that many times by people who have no idea what they're doing. Usually when they pick Pike, they actually know how to play, which is strange given the difficulty level. We ended up going 11, 2, and 6 in this game with a nice cascade of kills and a juicy double kill, bumping the Collector here to make sure that I do not fall behind in farm speed. This game played at a time where there were very few people online, a bunch of old people in this game, and it really cranks up the difficulty level. This was one of the more skill heavy conflicts that we've seen, and there were a whole bunch of ranked games that were unable to touch this. Was refreshing and a good opening for Olaf. Taking a look at the score. What? What? But you followed the recipe! What? But I thought the guy on Twitch said that if we would do this, that it would work. I thought that this was what everybody was doing. But I thought the girl with a big chest on Twitch said that if we went Ruined King on Warwick, that it would all be okay. But now it's not. So what? Yeah, that is because on a normal matchup, when you're not facing somebody who has spent a lot of time in the jungle, Warwick's beyond the pale natural base stats will erase your mistake. I've said this beautifully in Eloy Tree. Warwick can be a blessing for new players, but he can also be a curse because he has to be top 3 in best default stats. So essentially, if you give him a little magic wand and you give him a twinkle in his eye, he will still do insanely good. If you give him high heels and you give him a little wizard's cane, he will still do insanely good because he's ridiculously, insanely pumped up by default just by being in the game. This is called natural base stats. It's not that you have a brilliant thing going with the cult of the ruined king. It's just that you can't F up Warwick. He's impossible to mess up. Except for, of course, you have to squeeze every last bit out of the bottle because you have a serious matchup, like a person who has done significant things on junglers like Vi, such as myself. And when you have that type of a person as a direct matchup, yeah, probably one of the reasons why my win-loss ratio as a jungler is the highest of any position that I play is because I was so good in the jungle at showcasing and exploiting just how ridiculous stupid some of these jungler builds are. In reality, in its essence, this is a Kalista item, perhaps a Tristana item. This is the bigger problem with not thinking for yourself.
Action!
Welcome to Summoner's Rift. Seconds until minions spawn.
The might of Lockvar approaches.
Minions have spawned.
Urge to kill rising. Plunder. To action! Lockvar approaches.
Killing spree. An enemy has been slain.
I'm going.
Shut down.
Urge to kill rising. The might of Lockvar approaches.
An enemy has been slain.
I'm going.
An enemy has been slain.
To plunder.
It's smaller than the diagram.
action! I'm going. The might of Lokvar approaches.
Unstoppable.
Master to battle!
Dominating.
To plunder!
Your team has destroyed a turret. An enemy has been slain. Unstoppable.
To action!
Your team has destroyed a turret.
Master to battle!
Shut down. Your turret has been destroyed.
The might of Lokvar approaches. actions!
Dominating.
Part of the kill.
Shut down. Your team has destroyed a turret. Your team has destroyed an inhibitor. Dominating.
To plunder.
Shut down.
The might
Your
of
team has destroyed a turret. An ally has been slain.
I'm going.
An ally has been slain.
To action! To plunder.
It's
been slain. Legendary.
To action!
Your team has destroyed a turret. Shut down.
To plunder!
Your team has destroyed an inhibitor. Shut down. Has been destroyed. Been destroyed.
To action!
Welcome to Summoner's Rift. "30 seconds until minions spawn.